Music's way too loud. How are we doing? Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. It's Streamiversary. Year 5 years of streaming. As you can see, what we've got started right here is a tier list over on the side, and I'll get into that in a moment. But what I really wanted to start with was to talk about what even is going on with me and streaming. Obviously I have not stepped away entirely. I'm here right now. Been doing cutie streams. And if you were at the last cutie stream, I said that my intention was to get back on a regular schedule after today, after this special Streamiversary stream, and there is still some truth to that. However, I've reevaluated a little bit, had a bit more time to think about what exactly I want to get in streaming, what I want to do with streaming, and I need to be treating this more as a hobby. I've been doing this for 5 years, kind of. Last year, maybe not, this past year, maybe not so much, due to various circumstances. And I do miss it. I do miss it and want to do it more often, but it's clear that especially for those first 4 years, I was putting way too many eggs into this basket, we'll say. So I still intend to do this semi-regularly, but I'm also going to say, I have my YouTube presence. I have my videos that I work on, with that. And I'm going to prioritize those over streaming. So, I have... Essentially what I'm saying is I have time in the week that I have set aside to stream. And that is, what I want to do going forward, is have that time set aside and use it. Sorry, I'm gonna mess with the microphone here. But if I can be working on my next video instead, that's gonna take a higher priority. And that is to say that I am working on a video right now. I'm working on my pardon me, on my Kenneth Branagh, how do you pronounce it? My Kenneth Branagh ranking as part of my MCU Directors Ranking series. And I've finished watching all the movies for it. I finished writing that script. And what I have to do now is I have to record that video and I have to edit it. And I'm going to be working on that. Instead of streaming for a little bit. Which I know what I'm basically doing is I'm coming in here and I'm being like, I'm streaming again, just kidding. But that is to say, once I get that video out, I'll be on here, a bit more regularly after that. Maybe not all the time, but a bit more regularly. Won't worry as much about sticking to my schedule all the time. And it is what it is. And then, I'm not going to get started on the next video immediately. I don't want to just burn out with doing video after video after video. So there will be a bit of streaming for a bit until I'm ready to start working on that video. So that's sort of where I'm at. And then that is to also say that as of right now, one thing that I do intend to keep doing and working with is Sonic Tuesday. However, due to changes in my schedule, Sonic Tuesday will now become Sonic Saturday, and I intend to only do it every other week. And you might be thinking, Sonic Saturday, that makes way more sense. Why wasn't that to begin with? Here's the thing: Sonic Tuesday, I thought, was a very, very clever name because it was a callback to marketing for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. They released it on Tuesday. It was Sonic Tuesday. But yes, Saturday is much more alliterative. That's what I'm going to be going with from now on. And the plan is every other week, and that is one that I'm going to try to still do, even when I have a video to work on. That's one I still want to come back and be here for. And the cutie streams, of course. As of right now, those are not going anywhere. Yeah, the cuties and I, we're having a lot of fun. It's my turn to pick next month's game, and I want to keep doing Monster Hunter because I did actually enjoy that. So that's sort of my update segment at the beginning of the stream. Now we still have plenty of time in front of us today. This is a 12-hour stream. We're celebrating. I've been streaming for 5 years, kind of. That's wild. 5 years. And that brings me to my tier list here. Now, there's not a lot of games on this here, but if you remember, last year, my first stream of the year, which this is my first stream of the year, excluding beauty streams, I did a tier list of every game I had beaten that year, of the year before, so in 2023. So here, we're going to do that again for 2024. I know it's already March, so it's a bit late. And there's way less games. There were like 60 last time. There's 16 this time. So we'll be through it much quicker. But it was something I wanted to continue with, wanted to bring back. We'll get through it a bit quicker, and then we will move on to our next activity for the day. So let's start it off with, first we have Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Now, here's where we're gonna run into some issues with a lot of these is memory. It's been a hot minute, especially these earlier ones at the beginning. And particularly with this one, this is one that I played with my roommates at the time, and we played it when it first came out 2 years ago, and then we were back in last January, we were like, hey, we never finished this this game, let's pull it back out, let's finish it. It's a good game, it's a solid Kirby game. I think I'm comfortable slotting it in B. I think B is fair. I don't have the strongest memory of it, so it didn't stick with me the most. But it was a fun multiplayer game play at home, and I'm comfortable putting it there. I'm comfortable putting it there. Yeah. Up next we have Half-Life. And this is one, again, this is another one that I started in 2023 and finished in 2024. I did stream this one, so there's a playthrough of that on my VOD channel. Hit the microphone there, sorry. I really liked this game. It's a little dated, a little rough around the edges, but it is such a classic. I enjoyed its presentation. The ending of it, I remember struggling with the end a bit, being a bit too, you know. And that's kind of where it gets dated a bit, is particular in the end, the way that it asks a lot of you there. But I'm comfortable giving this an A rank. Oh my god. Up next is Adventure, another one I did on stream, obviously, played as part of Sonic Tuesday. The first Sonic Adventure is a really, really fucking solid game. It's, you know, the way it splits it up into the different characters, the way you unveil the pieces of the story as you go, the final battle as Super Sonic against Perfect Chaos. The first Sonic Adventure is really, really solid. And dare I say better than Sonic Adventure 2. That's not going to be the most popular opinion. And in fact, I don't even think it's one I held until I replayed both of these games last year. And I was really able to look at Sonic Adventure 2 for what it is, and we'll get there. You know, obviously we're not there yet. That's way down the list. But Sonic Adventure 1 is going an A. It's also going an A. It just an incredible game. A very, 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 very good time. Cannot recommend it enough if you haven't played it somehow. It is fantastic. Hi, Pneumatic Meat. Thank you for the happy streamiversary wishes, and thank you for the first time chat. What we're doing right now, to start off, is we're doing a tier list of every game I beat last year. It's a bit late in the year to be doing that. It's March, but this is when I did it. I've been not staying on top of streaming the best, and I'm trying to turn that around a bit and using this streamiversary as a springboard into that. Obviously, I did not beat a lot of games last year. Especially if you look at the one of these I did last year, there were 60 games on that one. This one has 16, so huge difference. So up next, Sonic Pocket Adventure. What a clunky mess. Terrible frame rate. Near impossible to play. I can't believe I actually managed to beat it. It's rough. It is a rough game all around. I did not enjoy it a bit. It has some neat sprite work. That's the only nice thing I can say about it. I like its sprites. And that doesn't make a good video game. Oh jeez. Okay. What I'm about to do, now that I've just done that and laid in so hard on that, y'all are gonna hate what I do next. I really laid in hard on Sonic Pocket Adventure, and now we have Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But here's the thing. I didn't hate it. Is it an incredible experience? Absolutely not. It's rough around the edges. I didn't even get around to the bonus, episodes post launch. And I planned to at some point, but I kind of don't even want to anymore. With how unceremoniously I know its story concluded. But it's not a terrible experience. It's not amazing, but as someone whose top streamed category in, was it 2020 or 2021? I can't remember which one, but in that year, as someone whose top streamed category was the Avengers game, it could be worse. This Suicide Squad game feels like if that Avengers game was made more competently. And its base story was engaging. I liked the story it was going for, and I think if it had the proper amount of time to get that 3-year lifespan that they wanted and be able to tell that full story, I think I would have been engaged enough to go for those further bonus episodes, but it didn't happen. and maybe that could have pushed it up to B, but it is at C. Lego 2K Drive is gonna go in B. That is a solid. It's a solid racing game, and it's a different experience than a Telltale Lego game, but it is a really fun time. If you haven't played it yet, give it a shot. You might even, someone else might even place this higher than I would. Maybe not that high, but it's a good time. It's a good time, and I love the customization in it. The story is fun. Think of what a Lego game's story is, particularly one based on an original property, as opposed to adapting a pre-existing IP, and that's what you got here. And it's just a solid racer, and there's still even plenty more to. I only went through the story, and I feel like I barely scratched the surface of what's available in that game. So I had a good time with that one. Super Crazy Rhythm Castle is next. That is one that I played with the cuties, multiplayer, back when Trio was still in the group, and that is, I was blown away by this game, by Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. It was such a unique experience to the way it is built, first as a multiplayer game, not inherently. It certainly doesn't need to be, but it feels like that is at the forefront of how the game was designed. But it's a rhythm game, and you're cooperating together. I loved the way that it used that that it used those things, but it's also it's also an adventure game. It's honestly, oh, do I dare? I think I do. I think I do dare put that in A. Yeah. It's such a great time. Play it with your friends. I know it is so tricky, but it's well, so the way it works is the rhythm element is only one aspect of it. Essentially, if you're in a multiplayer setting, say there's 4 of you, maybe 2 of you are playing the music, and this charges up a device for the other 2 to use to clear the pathway forward or something. It's hard to describe, but I would just recommend checking it out. Not to plug myself, but you could check out the Cuties and I playing it on my VOD channel. You know, a little shameless self-promotion there. There's a bit of shame. It's not shameless. I had a bit of shame in there. But yeah, yeah, it's very fun. Get it with your friends. You'll have a good time. Up next we have Monster Camp. Now I am a big fan of the Monster Prom series. This was not my first playthrough of Monster Camp, but I did you know we did do a run of it again with the Cuties. I remember it was my turn to pick that month, and it was also going to be Tria's last month as a member of the Cuties, so I wanted something that could all be done in one stream and that we would all have fun with together. If you're not familiar with the Monster Prom series, it is a dating sim that can be played multiplayer competitively if you want, but it doesn't have to be. You can compete for the same partner. And of course, what really makes it what it is and what makes it work and makes it so engaging is the characters in it. The characters you can date and the scenarios that they come up with. And all 3 of these games, the third kind of breaks away from that dating sim formula a bit. I know they're working on a 4th one that's going to bring that back. I really like the 3rd one still, Monster Road Trip. Not what we're talking about. I'm getting off track. But it's just funny, and you play it with friends, and you read all the character voices. You each take different characters, and you do the voices, and it's a good time. It's a good time with your friends. It's a good time by yourself, but it's especially a good time with your friends. I love these games. I love the characters. Dahlia is muscle mommy. These games are, yeah. I was going a bit too hard on that. I was going a bit too hard on putting it up there. But no, see, because I'm seeing what I'm putting it next to. It has to go up here. It has to. I love it. I love that game. I love that game. I love all those games. They're so much fun, especially if you're playing them with friends. I feel like I can't recommend them enough, and I feel like I have to move on before I open the game and just start playing it. So up next we have Sonic Shuffle. I'm comfortable placing this one right here. Sonic Shuffle, especially because I played the story mode of Sonic Shuffle, it's rough. I think it's better than most people give it credit for. I think it's one that people write off immediately. They just go, oh, it was Sonic trying to do a Mario Party. Oh, oh, it's so bad. But it's early game. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No problem. And thank you for checking that out. Welcome again, by the way. Where was I? Sonic Shuffle is one that people, they write off. They're like, oh, it's terrible. It's well, just one of those forgotten Sonic spin-offs. But I enjoyed my experience with it for the first couple boards. The problem with this game is that in the story mode particularly, which is how I played it, you are required to get first place on the board to move the story forward. And this game is entirely too luck-based to make that a requirement. I mean, there's ways to, calculate it, but it's not entirely luck-based, but it's luck-based enough that it is a struggle to lock that down. So while I enjoyed it at first, once you get to those later boards, there's 5 boards in this game. Once you get to those later boards, the luck becomes even more important, and it's rough. It is rough trying to clear the story. Luckily, the last board, it didn't seem like it was required to get first place. You just had to reach the end on that one. But I didn't know that, and I was still stressed anyway. I think I'm not opposed to pulling my Dreamcast back out. I bought a Dreamcast just to play this game. I'm not opposed to pulling my Dreamcast back out and playing this with some friends sometime. But as far as the story mode goes, not a great experience. 1 second. Pardon me. Sonic Generations up next. So, around, obviously, Sonic X Shadow Generations came out, this last fall. Amazing experience. I have the 2 games here listed separately. Sonic Generations, one of the all-time best Sonic games. I'm comfortable placing it in an A. It is a very fun experience. It's such a great celebration of all that came before it. It was, at the time, it was released for the 20th anniversary of the series. The level design is incredible. It's a very fun game to play. What brings it down a bit is that story was certainly not at the forefront of what they were doing with that game. It is one of the most basic Sonic stories for a Sonic game. And that hurts it a little bit, but only a little bit, because of how much fun the game is otherwise. So I'm very comfortable placing that in an A. While I take Shadow Generations, and that's going to go in an S. Shadow Generations takes so much of what Sonic Generations does really well. It's not being a celebration of the whole franchise at this point, because we're here with Shadow, who hasn't been around for the whole franchise. But it is a celebration of him as a character. And especially at this time right now, it's a great time to be a Sonic, because we've got Ian Flynn here writing the game. We got him writing Sonic Frontiers, him writing for Shadow Generations. We've got him on the comics. We've got him consulting on other things. We've got the movies. He's not involved with the movies, but the movies are so fun and so good. And I'm confident placing this in S tier, because it does what Sonic Generations was missing. It has such an incredible story centered around Shadow as a character, using the framing of all the time travel shenanigans that Sonic Generations already had going on, and I love Shadow. Shadow's such a great character, and what they do with Shadow Generations, yeah. I clearly am at a loss for words. I'm struggling to describe how amazing this is, but if you are a Sonic fan like me and you haven't taken the time to play Shadow Generations yet, do it, please. We'll be working for a bit. Glad I catch streamers and friend of Smage and Greg. Good peeps. 2 years or thank you, Meat. Well, yes, thank you for coming. Greg is a good friend. He is a member of the Cuties. Smage is here a lot. Thank you, I appreciate that, yes. Yes, I love streaming with Greg. I was just streaming with him a couple days ago. We were playing some Monster Hunter together. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it a lot. We have 5 more games to get through on this tier list. I'm gonna drink a little more water because my throat is already catching up to me, and I still got 11 and a half more hours of stream to go today.
Okay.
Oh, the Dream Kilometer. Thank you. Delicious. Up next we have Alone in the Dark 2024. I played this for Spooky Week. It's fine. I think I'm comfortable placing this in a B. I haven't played any other Alone in the Dark games, so I don't really have that as a frame of reference for how well it works as an entry in the series. I can only speak on it as a horror game on its own, from my own experiences of it. It's fine. It's decent. I like David Harbour and Jodie Comer, and they're both fine in this game. You know, that these certainly aren't some of their best acting performances or whatever, but they do a decent job. The story is engaging enough. The level layout interesting. We got a bit of a Metroidvania going on there. In particular, it reminds me of the Resident Evil 2 remake. Is that because that's the only other 3D horror Metroidvania I've ever played? Probably. But it's not as good as the Resident Evil 2 remake. I think last year's tier list, I placed the Resident Evil 2 remake in an S, even? I'm gonna check on that. Is that what I did? Did I do that? I have this saved somewhere, right? I have to have this saved somewhere. Yeah, it's in this. Right here. Here's that. Yeah. So this is last year's. Look at how much bigger this is. How many more games I played in 2023 compared to last year. And a large part of that is definitely how little I was streaming this year. This last year even. So yeah, Resident Evil 2 remake. God, I played a lot of really good games last year. Okay. So yeah, I'm comfortable placing this here. Nightmare Cart. Nightmare Cart is a very fun indie experience. I feel weird putting so many of these in A. You know, especially you compare that to the distribution of last year's, but I just play a lot of good games. And Nightmare Cart is a good indie title. If you're not familiar with the history on it, it started as a meme game remaking Bloodborne as a kart racer. Sony sent the dev a cease and desist, and she turned it to her own original IP, just unbranded it from the Bloodborne stuff, and it became Nightmare Cart. I've never played Bloodborne, but I enjoyed Nightmare Cart. It was a fun kart racer. I liked the stylings of the different types of what she was able to do with a kart racer, the way the boss battles worked, the way all those, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. The battles in it were good. And it's free. It's free. And it takes like a couple hours to play through. Like 2 or 3 hours to play through. And she's developing DLC for it right now. So really there's no reason not. Now up next year I have Sonic Adventure 2. Oh, okay. Okay. There's something I need to do real quick. I need to do that. Because... well, that doesn't feel... No, I'm keeping this here. But... some of you are going to be... No, actually, no, this is fine. I'm comfortable with this. What I'm a little less comfortable with, but confident in. Don't get mad at me. Hear me out here. Sonic Adventure 2 is a solid game. It's a good gameplay experience. But I want you to go back to it. And I want you to look at the structure of the story again. Because I obviously replayed it, at the end of last year. And the biggest thing I noticed is that nothing happens in Hero Story. Obviously everything that's going on in Dark Story is still going on in the background of all this. But there is ultimately nothing. Nothing is given away. Playing Hero Story in this game is like looking through a peephole at the story, at the plot. And it isn't until you play Dark Story that they reveal everything that's going on. Everything. That's not how you structure a story. That's not how you structure a two-sided story. I should be getting one side of the story and then the other side of the story. But nothing. The Team Dark is driving the story. Team Hero just has the story happening to them. And I don't think that is the best structure. I also think I need to skip this song because I'm worried about getting muted there. So yeah, that's my stance. And on Sonic Advance, I'm comfortable putting Sonic Advance here. Sonic Advance is a fun, decent game, and I'm comfortable leaving it there. It's a good 2D platformer. It didn't leave the biggest impression on me, probably just because it's so short. I played through it in one sitting. But it's a decent time. And then Zelda 4 Swords is our last one here. And if my fellow cuties were here, they would probably not love where I'm about to put this. But I had a good time playing this game with them. They didn't like it for some reason. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a unique take on the multiplayer experience. I had fun. So, I'm going to get myself a screenshot of this. Hold on, why am I doing it that way? You can save you can just save the picture. I'm like, oh, I gotta get my, no, just do this. Save that to, you don't need to see into my files. Hey, don't look at my files. All right, I have this saved to work with. This is my final tier list of all the games I beat in 2024. I am gonna run to the restroom, and when I come back, I'm gonna be doing something else.